Good morning. It's time for the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. And on this episode, we're going to Clemens, North Carolina. Right up I-40, no problem. Be about an hour to get there. Going to be a lot of picking going on. It's the biggest record show in North Carolina. So welcome to the show. And hit the subscribe button and the bell. Every time you hit that, you'll know when the North Carolina Vinyl Picker will be coming to see you. So stay tuned for the show. And it's going to be a good one. So we got to go up to Clemens. Look at that morning there. This is from my backyard. Not a bad view if you can have it. Stay tuned. Here we are in Clemens, and I'm here at the Vinyl Cat Records, and there's the proprietor,
Justin Miller.
Justin Miller, and we're gonna go through a stack of wax here, see what we got. A lot of people love them Beatles. I like their later albums.
Yeah. I like all the stuff.
Even the early?
Yeah, I like the early stuff too. Yeah.
I like the early stuff. I hear John singing more.
Yeah. I'm more of a Stones fan, but I think for consistent quality, the Beatles topped the Stones because the Stones had a lot of misses as far as albums. You know, there's a lot of them that I don't care for. The Beatles, I feel like all their stuff is pretty high quality.
A lot of the later Stones.
What's that?
I like the early Stones.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, as it gets in the later '80s, late '70s, early '80s, a little less. Yeah.
Right. Alrighty. Thank you very much. Good Sunday evening. It's time for the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. And on this episode, I'm going to show you what I got in the mail. I just got a couple of things. And I'm going to go over. I'm going to take you to 1981 and show you what my top 10 albums were from 1981 and a couple of extras. And today, I went up to Clemens, North Carolina. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. Picked up some bagels at the bagel station. And then I went over to the show and I shot some video and I talked to Justin Miller. And Justin is from the Vinyl Cab. And he's on Instagram. I'm sorry, the Vinyl Cat. He's on Instagram and he's a really nice guy. He sells records at the shows. And so I got to talk with him. So without further ado, so then on this coming Wednesday, like 3 days from now, I'm going to show you all the stuff that I picked up from and it was quite a bit. It's quite a good amount. And it was a really nice day. And the picker was busy. And I found a book and I found some Blu-rays and yeah. So this is what came in the mail. The Story in Your Eyes, the Moody Blues. I've been wanting this 45 for quite a while. I had the 45, but I didn't have the sleeve. So I bought the sleeve and the 45, and I'll replace it up there behind me with my 45s. Those are my CDs up here. I've been putting them in Discogs. I put in about 100 CDs this week. And if you want to get to my store in Discogs, you just look at the link down below, and it'll take you right to it. And there's tons of CDs in there. And I'm going to be putting a bunch more of, putting all my Steven Wilson Porcupine Tree CDs in there. But they're not in yet. Some of them are in, but not all of them yet. So I got to get them out tonight after I do my little show. And then I'll go and bring them to the table and start putting them in probably tomorrow. So anyway, back to this, The Story in Your Eyes, the Moody Blues. And I picked up this crazy looking cover of on the beach. Somebody had this on, I think it was eBay, for $2. And they said it was VG Plus. I said, well, for $2, you know, and I think the shipping was like $5. I said, I'm going to just go ahead and pull the trigger. But you can see somebody outlined everything with a pen. And so it was kind of crazy. They played tic-tac-toe on the back, and yeah, so it was a little crazy. But the album was minty mint. It was minty mint, like JT says. So I put it through the Humming Guru, and my Humming Guru is like my #1 video that I have, showing how it works and everything. It's kind of crazy. I should do another one. And then also my walking machine, my treadmill. That thing is like, I don't know, 34,000 views or something. I should be getting paid by them. But I haven't heard nothing from them. But anyway, so back in 1981, where was I? I was on my way to Groton, Connecticut. That's where I was. I was living there for 2.5 years. I was on shore duty in the Navy, and I met a lot of people, and I haven't really seen any of them people in a long time. But I went and seen a bunch of concerts while I was up there, and I seen John McLaughlin by himself playing a guitar. I went to New Haven. I saw Gabriel. I saw King Crimson and Steve Hackett at Toad's. I saw Marillion at Toad's place in New Haven. And I saw the Peter Gabriel Plays Live show while I was there. I saw lots of shows while I was there. You know, being on shore duty, I had plenty of time. So that's where I was, back in 1981. And this is where we were listening to in 1981. Or what I was listening to in 1981. I don't know about y'all. Now, some of these records here, you might not even recognize or have no idea who they are, but I'll try to fill you in as we go. And these are the honorable mentions. This is the first Yellow Jackets album. Yellow Jackets is a fusion band, and they're from the USA. And Jimmy Haslip's on here on bass. He stayed with them for quite a while, and he left and came back a couple times, I think. But Robin Ford's on here, and there's a whole bunch of people that are on here that helped out with Russell Ferrante. He's the keyboard player. Ricky Lawson's on drums. They had people coming in like Spyro Gyra. They had people that came in and left the band, and other people came in and replaced them. So yeah, Yellow Jackets' first album back in 1981, must have. Excellent album. I've heard it I don't know how many times. Genesis came out with an album in 1981, and I saw the show at the Brendan Byrne Arena in New Jersey. At least that's what my concert stub says. It's been a long time. Here's the album here, and I got not one, not two, not three, but 4 copies, and you can tell they're all different. They did a 4-album series where all the pictures were different. And this was a 12-inch Keep It Dark from that album. And Man on the Corner. So that was in 1981. Genesis took a big leap, and they did that album there. And at the time, I remember driving all the way to New Haven from New London or from Groton to pick that album up at a record store. Drove all the way over there, all the way back, listened to it. And when I got down, I called down to New Jersey and talked to my people down there. There wasn't anybody that had liked the album. They weren't real happy. Things were really going off the cliff there. How about this one? I saw this band at Toad's do this album. And they're back on the road now with a few members from that original band redoing that show. They're doing all 3 of the albums that they did in the 80s. But I saw the Discipline show at Toad's place in New Haven, I believe. This album's coming in as a honorable mention. And here is Elephant Talk, 12-inch from Discipline. So there's your honorable mentions. Coming in at number 10. Are you ready for the top 10? Here we go. Steve Hackett, Cured. He tried to sing on this album and didn't go so well. But there's some bad songs on here, and there's some really good songs on here. I like the Air Conditioned Nightmare. That's the last song on side 1. And Overnight Sleeper, I think that's the other one. There's a couple on here that are instrumentals that are really good. The rest of the stuff, he tried to go kind of like Poppy a little bit, tried to make some records for the radio and stuff. And Steve Hackett is not a really good singer. So I guess he's gotten better over the years. And in his voice has changed, I guess. And he sounds a little better when he got older. But he's not the best of singers. Number 10. Still a good album. Steve Hackett. It's better than the Abacab album. Though, back then I probably liked the Abacab album. I don't know. John will have to tell me. Write your comments down below. Coming in at number 9. You ready for number 9? Nobody except for John's going to know who this band is probably. And it's Grobschnitt and it's Illegal. I love this album. I played this album lots of times. And Razia is the album after this. But they're in their prime, and before this was Rock Pommel's Land and some other stuff that some people like better. But I like this album. It's really cool. And if you don't know who Grobschnitt are, look them up on Spotify or check them out. Well, you might want to start with the one I just mentioned. Rush, Moving Pictures, coming in at number 8. Now, people are going to say, Rush, why isn't it even higher? It's got to be number 1 or number 2. No, I wasn't a huge Rush fan back then. I'm still not a really huge. Geddy Lee, I mean, you've probably heard this a million times. Everybody loves Rush so much, and why Geddy Lee's vocals are just horrid. But it's an acquired taste. I got to admit. It's kind of like listening to Yoko Ono a little bit. So, Rush, Moving Pictures, coming in at number 8. It's a brilliant album, start to finish, all the way through. I've heard it a million times. I've watched the video. I've seen them live on a tour, a couple tours after this. Might have been the one after this one. I guess it was. I got the stuff. We'll talk about it. Moving Pictures coming in at number 8. And some people say they're prog. I never thought they were prog. I didn't even know they were prog until like a year ago. Coming in at number 7. Where are we? Number 7. Demiola, John McLaughlin, Paco de Lucia. Yes. Friday Night in San Francisco. Great album. Fantastic. What can I say? If you know it, you know it. It's one of them albums that's just brilliant all the way through. And I love these guys. 10, 9, 8, 7. Next one's going to be 6, but I'm going to show you this one. This was Saturday Night in San Francisco. This is the night after. And this is released, I think, last year. Yeah, it was last year. This is the following night, and the track order of the set was different. It's a really good album, too. Excellent. If you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. That's all I got to say about that. Where are we at? Number 6? Did I lose track again? I could have. Possibility. 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I need to put little numbers on them, I think. Number 6, Moody Blues. Long Distance Voyager. If you love the Moody Blues, they got back together and they started making albums in the 80s. And this one here came out in the summer of 81, and I had it on cassette, and I think I wore that cassette out. I used to play it all the time in one of my vehicles. I think I had a truck back then. Little blue pickup truck. Toyota, I believe. The Moody Blues, Long Distance Voyager. Great album. This was after Octave, and this was before their next album, which would have been their next album. Coming in at number 5. 5? Am I on 5? Yes, I'm on 5. Fata Morgana. This is Ragnarok. These guys are from Sweden. Now I've completely lost everybody except for John. These guys here are from Sweden, and they're an awesome band. They have 2 albums before this one, and they have 1 album I found out that's after this one that I picked up. But the 4th album, their 4th album is really like in that 79. Is you can tell they were discoing and up in Sweden. But the first 2 albums are really progressive rock, and this one here is my favorite, Fata Morgana. I don't know why I gravitate to this album so much. I've listened to it. I've been listening to it for probably close to 50 years now. So it must be good. I've heard it a bunch of times. Coming in number 5. Everybody got that one right. Ragnarok. What? Yep, he's turning. Okay, number 4. You know, coming in, Phil. Bing, Phil. Yeah, you gotta love Phil. Phil made his solo album in '81, and this is better than Abacab too. I have to say. You know, I love this album. His first album, his couple first albums were the best. I liked it. It's rocking out. In the Air Tonight. There's some ballads on here. There's some rockers on here. Coming in at number 3. How about Camel? Nude. This is after the Pete Bardens era. Pete Bardens had left, and rest in peace. He had gone solo, the keyboard player and vocalist. And Andy Latimer took over on lead vocals and started singing more. And then this album came out, and they did Dust and Dreams. They did 4 or 5 albums in the 80s and 90s, and they're really good albums. But I prefer their older albums. I prefer Mood Madness and back before that. You know, their second album, Lady Fantasy. I love that stuff. But Nude is a good album. You can pick it up fairly cheap. I think I have a copy of this in my store, by the way. If you're looking for a copy of Nude. Coming in at number 2. Number 2. We at number 2 already? I think so. Coming in at number 2. I know you're all waiting for this. This is a favorite of John's. As Falls, Wichita. As Whole Falls, Wichita Falls. Yes, Pat Metheny and Lyle Mays coming in at number 2. And you may say, who is Pat Metheny? Well, he's a guitar player. And I believe he's from the Midwest. And he's just simply awesome. He's played with Paco de Lucia. He's played with Joni Mitchell. He's played with all kinds of people. More people than we got time to talk about this evening. So, Pat Metheny, check him out. If you like jazz, you know, it's not real crazy jazz. It ain't old-timey jazz. It's not, you know, it's a different kind of jazz. It's ECM jazz. Coming in at number 2. And this is a promo I got of that album that I found. And coming in at number 1. Coming in at number 1. I don't know what you're all going to know. What number 1? What was your number 1 album in 1981? There you go. Write it down in the comment section below. John Vangelis, The Friends of Mr. Cairo. Got to be my number 1 album, 1981. Love this album, start to finish. State of Independence. Donna Summer did a copy of that. She, yeah. If you don't know this album, you should know this album. It's a great album. I know Steve Carlson loves this album. He told me so. He's a prog head, you know. Steve's a prog head. Just like the picker here. Just like the Big Chief. And John Vangelis. Now this is Steve. I don't know if Steve Carlson has this one. This is the alternate cover. Or does Steve show this one? I'm not sure which one he showed. Two Johns in one. John Vangelis. This is the alternate cover. So when they re-released it, they changed the cover. Don't know why. I also have a 12-inch promo of State of Independence. And I also have a 12-inch promo of I'll Find My Way Home. Well, there you go. There's your top 10 from 1981, what I was listening to back then. Stick with me. Coming up on Wednesday, I'm going to go over the big haul that I got today from the Clemens Record Show up there in Clemens, North Carolina, right off I-40. Yeah, it sure was. And I got some DVDs, and I got a cool book. And, yeah, that'll be about all I'm going to show. So we'll see you on Wednesday. I had another thing planned for Wednesday, but I'll move that back a week. And then next weekend, we'll be going into 1982. Everybody take good care out there and be safe and support them troops if you can in the North Carolina Vinyl Picker. I'm out of here.